Hello everyone, and thank you very much for tuning in. I, of course, am Rotype. We're back in Factorio with MouseGunner, and we are having a bit of a power problem. That's not power. Let me show the power stats. Actually, right now, we're not having a problem, but if you go to the 10-minute view, you'll see maybe 5 or 6 minutes ago, our production was at maximum, and it doesn't show here, but the robots were sucking down all of that power. And actually here you can see now the satisfaction is pretty bad. I don't know what the robots are up to right now, but especially if you go to the 1 hour page, you can see these spikes. Yeah, so the robots, which we were talking about last episode, they're super helpful. They can deliver you stuff, do all these kinds of things. They use a lot of power. So once you get into the stage of the game where you are using robots for a lot of things, you generally need to move on to some kind of power solution better than the steam engines. Now, our end game is probably going to be nuclear power, which is a new 0.15 thing that I haven't really fiddled with that much. But in the meantime, because I want to figure all that out, we're going to drop down some solar fields. And I mentioned this blueprint previously that I have taken from somebody on the internet, and I should have written down who it is. I'm assuming it's Elysium, because that is what is written on the name of the blueprint. But I found this on Reddit. The Reddit community for Factorio is pretty active. And this is a blueprint design that has the optimum ratio of solar panels to accumulators such that you can go by solar during the day and then use your accumulators at night, and your accumulators will have just enough power to get you through the length of night. So I went ahead and plopped that, and we'll have to see how long it takes our robots to get out here and build it. But all of these things should be in the robot network. So eventually they should make their way out here and build it. And while we're here, I'm just going to do a couple more. They tile pretty nicely, except for apparently there's one accumulator that runs off the edge. So this might not be my favorite design because it doesn't tile quite perfectly, but close enough that I'm just going to drop a few of these, and you'll see the right edge of this one kind of runs into our train depot, but I don't really care that much. The ratio is nice, but it's not critical. The more important thing is to just get some help for our steam engines that are having some trouble. So the nice thing about all the robot work that we did last episode and getting all this stuff set up is I can just plop this and then leave. As you can see, none of these things have been built yet, but I'm just going to leave, and eventually the robots will do it. You'll see a bunch of them now kind of on their way. Whoops. And, eventually it'll get done and we'll have more power. But the nice thing is I don't have to stand there and do it all myself. So that is convenient. Weave my way around here. There we go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about, is not me hitting power poles, is the new train depot. Now, the last you all saw it, destroyed another power pole. It was kind of a convoluted mess of rails just kind of spinning everywhere and different unloading stations for different resources, and it was kind of a tangled mess. And now you'll see that it is much neater and more organized. So Mouse alluded to this a little bit in the last episode, but you'll see here that I have all of these purple chests, the active provider chests, lined up next to the tracks here. So what I'm doing is I'm sending the trains in, emptying them into these active provider chests, and then using the robots to transfer the materials out of these active provider chests and into storage, and then eventually to where we need them. So if I come up here, you'll see I've lined this whole area with a bunch of roboports, and that's because when you're using a lot of robots, they need to charge. So it's helpful. Each roboport only has 4 charging slots. So it's helpful to have multiple roboports, so as many robots as you need can charge at any given time. You'll also see, if I turn my alt info off here, all of these chests down here are our storage. And this is our kind of centralized storage area. Everything that is picked up and stored is in here. You'll see I've got belts and steel and walls and minerals, just all kinds of crap in here. This is just our generalized storage area. And then above here, kind of in between the RoboPorts, is where I've rearranged the start of our bus. So instead of using the inserters to take them off the train and put them on belts, I'm using the robot network, where, as I've already mentioned, the robots are taking out of the active providers near the train and then dumping them into requesters. And you can see here, that's a convenient way of sorting things because each requester is requesting a specific thing. So for example, these 4 lines, each with a handful of requesters to fill them, all of these requesters are requesting only iron. So the robots are only ever going to deliver iron. And then I can just feed this right into our raw bus and off to the smelters. And then the same over here for copper and coal. And then this one is supposed to be stone. We just don't have any right now. But this is a convenient way of sorting things. So your trains can all just dump into the same place and your robots will do the sorting for you. You don't have to do some kind of complicated multiple station stuff. It really makes your depot much more compact, as you can see down here. So I really like this method because you don't really have to think, you don't have to worry about it. We were just talking, Mouse and I, between episodes that we need to go get more stone. And the worry was, all right, do we have to build another depot to handle the stone? Now we don't have to do that. We just send them in here. The inserters will pull off the stone and then the robots will automatically sort it for us. No problem. So I believe we have a stone train ready, do we not? I died. What happened? So compact depots are nice, but sometimes you cannot pay attention and get killed. Oh man. Yeah, where is oh here it is. Well, I definitely want my armor back. Oh man. At first I was worried that like the game was lagging or something. I was really confused. I'll get my blueprints. All my blueprints back. What a disaster. Okay. What was I talking about before I unceremoniously died? Stone train. I'd assume so, yeah. I think it disappears after some amount of time. Or I guess if you clear out all your stuff. Okay, so we have this train down here in what used to be an iron depot that is now working on stone. And it's actually really confused right now because it has no stations. Actually, there's not even a station down here. So let's go ahead and make a station. Here we go. The stone train? No, I mean I built the rails, so that's fine. Yeah, so that'll be all right. But what I'm going to do is say, so if you add a station, you'll see that I don't have, we do still have the copper depot, but I'm not using it anymore. We just have a one just called regular old depot. So I'm going to tell it to go to depot until inventory empty. I'm going to tell it to do that right now. So it should be up near us in just a minute. And then we can watch it come in. But what I've done is yeah. Make sure you're not standing on the tracks. So here it is. It rolls in. What I've done is I've named all of these stations here depot. All of them the same. They're all called depot. And that way, when a train comes in, it's just going to take whichever one's open. And if multiple are open, it'll take the shortest route. So I guess technically this inner one is fewer tiles to cross than the upper one. But it'll park in any of these, and we don't really care which one it parks in because of the robot automatic sorting that I was talking about before. So you can see here, it dumped off a bunch of stone, and now the robots are off to deliver that stone up here. And as you can see, most of them skipped the storage because we have requester chests asking for them. So they're just dumping them into the requester chests. And now we have a bus full of stone on its way. So you see this is like a much easier way of handling the organization. Possibly. The charging mechanics are something that's a little confusing because there are plenty of, if you look up near our central storage location, there are all of those roboports there, and there's not a ring of robots waiting to charge around those. So they could go up there and charge, but I suppose they have some kind of nearest location, nearest place to charge logic. I'm not entirely sure how it works. Yeah, so what you'll see often is, people build depots and then just like surround them with roboports to make sure the robots have places to charge. And, who knows which way they want to go to charge, but if there's a roboport in every direction, then, maybe they'll charge. So the one issue with that, which we've already kind of seen at the beginning of this episode, is if you push at the electric network, and again, you see those spikes, those correspond to when a train comes in and the roboport or the robots need to go do all of their deliveries, then they need to charge. And that's when we have the biggest tax on our electric system. And so again, those spikes in our electric usage history is every time a train comes in. So I don't remember what the name of that station is. Oh, it's still called road type station. Okay. So we will go ahead and send this train back to row type station until inventory full. And I also like to say, or some amount of time has passed, say like 60 seconds or something. So now we'll have a semi-regular stone delivery, which is really nice. And now let's just see how this is working. I believe I connected everything up. One small problem with our copper, but that's easily fixed. So I'm trying to use up all of the copper in our copper depot because we don't need this anymore, because we're just sending all of our trains into that same depot. Something's wrong with my deconstruction planner. Oh, there it is. Turns out when you die, all your stuff gets messed up. Who would have thought? I believe so. However, I did not get the killed by a train achievement, which means I've probably been killed by a train before, which is a little embarrassing. Good. Well, yeah, I don't know how the achievements work. If it was a single player, single player is separate, or if I have been run over by a train at some point in the past. Neither of us remember it. Well, feel free to stand unwittingly on the rail lines and get run over. It was even more. I was in. Well, I was in map view and I was off like looking at some other part of the map. That's why I had no idea. Yep. Thanks for the warning. All right, so yeah, should be able to clean up this rail track nicely. As you can see, especially with this new, the visible map, the radar map view, there are just going to be many times where my actual person is just going to be standing still and they're just going to be doing things like go take a look at the solar, like laying solar fields or, doing who knows what, just while standing still. Yeah, robots are doing things, and I just noticed we don't have substations being made automatically, which are required for the solar field. So we have this big, nice solar field that's being built, but not actually being able to be hooked up to the power grid. So I'm going to go down to. So there are poles. Actually, this is a good thing we can talk about. I'm going to go to. Oh, that's your tank. Where's my car? You should be happy. I almost stole your tank. Figured that would be rude. Whoop! Don't get run over. Where is my car? Yeah, yes, that other than the two, I mean, we run with two locomotives. But yeah, there definitely should be multiple passenger. I wonder if there's a mod for that. All right, let's go up. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, like a motorcycle with a buggy on the side. You think cars are hard to drive in this game. Wait till they add a motorcycle. All right, I'm going to work my way. This was not the right way to go, but try to get there without destroying too many poles. There we go. So we can talk about a new asset. Oops. New asset in the game that we researched a little while ago, but we haven't really used much, which will be very useful. And there's conveniently all the building blocks right here. There we go. So these are substations. And substations are super handy because, where did it go? Here we go. Place one down. You can see they cover a massive area with their power connections. So no more of this like little pole, only connects certain space. See, you place a substation down, you can connect all kinds of stuff. So if you take a look, it takes up a 2x2 square, same as a large pole, but it, as you can see, has this massive catchment area. It does not, the wire does not travel as far as a large pole. It's larger than a medium pole, I believe, but you can't kind of run them all the way across the map the way you can large poles. But their most immediate use, and what I find them to be the best for, is in this solar field. You can see that we're covering these very large solar fields with all of these electrical devices that are used for them, with only a handful of substations, because they'll connect to all of the solar panels and accumulators in that big area. So that is a pretty handy thing. Yes, we had, when we first built these, we had no substations. So they were not, the robots were building the solar panels and the accumulators, but they were not actually connected to our electrical network because we didn't have any substations. But now that we do, we can click on, if I weren't in map view, take a look at our electrical system. And now we can see that we are building some accumulator charge. You see that bar on the bottom, we have 1.6 gigajoules of accumulator charge, which is going to be useful if we didn't have steam engines and went into the night and had to survive on accumulators, or for things like when our robots peak, or if you have a bunch of laser turrets that suddenly turn on, that will be another kind of spike in power usage for that your accumulators can help you out with. But now we should be doing pretty well on power. We actually have our solar grid hooked up. Oh, did I see something was... Oh. Exactly, yeah. So it's interesting. The steam engines don't actually turn off. So, for example, if you have enough solar panels to power you during the day, your steam engines will turn off. But then at nighttime, if you have enough accumulators to kind of coast through, you know, as if there was a battery, kind of coast through the nighttime on your accumulators, your steam engines still won't turn off. The accumulators will not be used, and the steam engines will turn on for the nighttime. So there's some kind of switching logic that you can make as complicated as you want to do that. But by default, the accumulators are not used except for kind of surge power. Exactly. So with that, I think that is where we'll put a cut in the video. As always, thank you all very much for watching. My name's been Rotype. He's been MouseGunner, and we'll see you next time.